Hello everyone, it's Gemma here, the Inspired Stamper. Thank you for joining me today. Now today's project is this little gift box here. It's nice and cute and this lifts out, and then if we undo the ribbon on the top here, just slide that out. It then opens out and reveals our boxes inside. Now you've got 4 spaces here that you can pop some goodies into, and then it rolls back up again. Pop your ribbon back through your holes and then it sits inside the little holder there. Now this was inspired by Sam Clayton, the Mixed Up Crafts. She did a really big one. I thought it might be nice to do a small one. So the measurements for this are my own, but thank you to Sam for your inspiration. So again, I'll pop that out, and that's what our gift box looks like inside. Now I'm going to do a nice festive one for Christmas, because you could put some chocolate in here. You could even fill it with some lip glosses or something like that for a nice little girly gift. But that is our little gift box. Okay, so I'm going to pop that out of the way. There's quite a few pieces of paper going on here. Obviously we've got our 4 boxes to make, and then the outside piece as well. Now you'll see these, I have already gone ahead and scored them, because obviously there's a lot of repeat scoring. But to start with, you're going to need in total 5 pieces of cardstock. 4 of them you want to be 5.5 inches by 7 inches. Okay, so you'll have 4 of those, and then our bigger piece to make the outside box is 9 1/8 of an inch by 6 1/8 of an inch. Now you'll see on here all the scoring is pretty simple. On our big piece, that's going to be the outside, it's been scored at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So if I bring in my scoreboard, I can go over the scoring measurements for you. I'll pop that down. But as I said, I have already gone ahead and done the scoring. But just to give you an idea, all I've done on the large piece, which is again 9 1/8 of an inch by 6 1/8 of an inch, I've just gone round and I've scored at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So just rotate your piece of cardstock round till you've scored 2 inches on all 4 sides. Okay, so that's for our bigger piece. We're going to pop that out the way for now, and we're going to concentrate on our smaller pieces, our 4 pieces that are all the same, which measure 7 inches by 5.5 inches. Now the scoring on this is super easy. On the 7-inch side, you're going to score it at 1 inch and 6 inches. And then on our shorter side, the 5.5 inch side, we're going to score every inch. So 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches and 5 inches. Okay, so you're going to repeat that for all 4 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, and here's my 4th piece that I've already started to cut the bits and bobs off to form our long boxes. There's one other piece you're going to need, and this is a smaller piece of card which measures 5 inches by 2 inches, and that has just been scored on the 2-inch side at 1 inch. Okay, so you'll need a little piece as well. All the measurements and all the bits and bobs you'll need will be listed on my blog, and a link to that will be in the description box below. So I'm going to bring in my small piece there and my 4 pieces that we've already scored. Now this is the cutting we need to do for our 4 long boxes. Okay, so I'm going to cut the rest of them along with you, but I'm going to leave that one there so you can see where we are cutting, because you will see that we have got 5 1-inch sections, so 1 2 3 4 5, and then we've got a 1/2 inch section there as well. Okay, so I'm going to fold and burnish these score lines. I'm going to be slightly off camera while I'm doing this, just so I can leave that one there for you. I'm just going along and folding and burnishing my score lines. There we go. And now I'm ready to cut away the sections that need trimming. Okay, so this first section here, our first 1-inch section, we're going to take away this square completely. So we're going to cut on this score line to that first one, and then we're going to take this square out. Okay, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to cut those 2 squares, we're going to cut those away. Our next 2 rectangles, we need to cut this in half, because we only need half a tab. So I'm going to cut halfway across our square, and I'm going to cut up to the second score line away. So there's our first one, and our second. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to cut up to our score line, and then I'm going to trim that one there as well. So now we've got 2 tabs, and I'm just going to take off the corners to shape them. So we've got our tabs, and I'm just going to do it the same on the other side. So I'm going to cut across 2 squares and cut up, divide those in the middle, and then trim off the tabs. Keep those bits out of the way. Okay, so we've got 1 2 3 of our sections done. Our 4th section, we want to keep our whole square. So I'm going to come and I'm going to cut along this score line here, and then that is our next section done. So let's repeat that on the other side. There we go. So we've just got our last little sections to do. Now this tab here, we only really want half of it, so I'm going to cut across half. Okay, and then I'm going to come halfway across the square, and I'm going to cut at an angle, and then I'm just going to remove that last little bit there as well. So we've got that shape there. Then our tiny rectangle that we've got at the end, we're just going to notch the corner off so it folds in and tucks in nicely. Okay, so let's do the same on the other side. I'm going to have to turn it round. So I'm going to cut half of that off, nearly, just over half. I'm going to trim that, and then I'm going to come halfway across at an angle and cut that off there. And then to finish, I'm just going to take the corner off the little 1/2 inch flap there. Okay, so you need to do that for all 4 pieces. So as I said, I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the same on these ones. We've now got all 4 pieces cut the same, and we are ready to start assembling our boxes and assembling it into the rollout shape to make them sit on top of each other and fit into our holder. So what we're going to do is these 2 tabs here on either side, they're going to join together. We're going to roll them round. And we're going to put some glue on these 2 tabs here, and then this tab here is going to sit on the outside, forming our long boxes. So we're going to push them down together, and we're going to glue them on top like so. So we're going to have this section that sticks out. Open this up. These are going to be glued together like so, and then this is our box lid that's going to sit inside and hold it closed. There we go. So one other thing we need to do on our little lid is make a little notch. If I grab this one out, we need to cut a little notch just so we can open our boxes easily. And I have got my 1/2 inch circle punch. Okay, so I'm gonna use my grid paper to mark halfway across my lid. I'm going to grab my ruler because you might not be able to see that all the way down there. So I'm going to grab my ruler, and our boxes are 5 inches across. So I'm going to pop that along there and just going to mark it at 2.5 inches in the centre. See, I made a little mark there. Then I'm going to use my little circle punch, and you'll see on mine I've drawn little lines on to make halfway. That's just to help me when I'm doing things like cutting little notches. And we're just going to pop that in probably 1/3 of the way in and punch. So there we go. You'll see now that I've got a little notch. Okay, and I'm going to do that. We're going to do that on all 4 of them, but I will finish putting this one together first to show you. So that is our lid of our box. So I bring that back in. Oh, you see that is our lid. And these 2 sections here are 2 tabs that we cut on either side are going to roll up, and we're going to glue them on either side. Okay, so I'm going to fold that lid back out the way on that side, and then our tab here, I'm going to fold that back out the way as well. So it makes it a bit easier for you to see where I'm gluing. Now I'm going to put some glue on this tab here and the one next to it. And I'm going to fold that over and then hold that in place while it just takes. And that's one side of our box glued. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So glue on that tab, some glue on that tab there, and then we're going to bring that over, line them up and give them a nice pinch closed just while that glue takes. Okay, so that's what we want to do on all 4 of our boxes. So now you'll see that we can fold our little tabs in and we can push them closed and our box will stay shut. Okay, so what we want to do is exactly the same as that to the other 4 boxes. There we go. So once we've got all 4 boxes glued together on the ends, I'm just going to close up the boxes and push them shut to give them a little pinch because I folded them back on themselves. So let's get them, all our lids in and closed down. To stick our boxes together to get them to unroll, you're going to need your other piece here, and I've got all of mine laying down at the moment because we want to stick these together so they will roll together and form a square. Okay, so I'm going to show you without gluing first and then we'll stick them all together. So I've got the first one here on my left hand side. Okay, I've got that laying down. Now what I'm going to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to put glue along this flat edge here. So we've got the opening of our box facing to the left. Okay, and then this box here is going to glue and sit on top like so. Okay, so once we've got them 2 together, we're then going to stand this one up and that one is going to glue on top of there. So you'll see that one rolls out, and then our final one, we're going to take that and we're going to glue that onto the side there. Okay, to make our square when we unroll them. Okay, so let's just move them apart again. So as I said, I'm going to start with putting glue on the second one here. Okay, and then we're going to stand this and it's going to stick onto there. Okay, so you want to line them up and you want to do that so it's nice and stuck. There we go. So we've got 2 parts, got one piece, 2 parts stuck together to make one. Now we're going to get our third one, and then that one is going to sit on top there. Okay, and that we're going to stick that there. So we put some glue on there, and then this one is going to come and sit on top there. It's often a good idea to use wet glue on this because you've got a bit of wiggle room so you can get them lined up. So that's our third section stuck together. Just wiggle that into place. There we go. So we're making like little steps with our boxes. Okay, so if we look at that and we fold that up, you'll see we've got one more section to go on. Okay, so you can stick it on upside down. It's often quite a good way of doing it, because then you can make sure it's all sitting in a square nicely. So I'm going to pop my glue on across that long tab there, and then I'm going to take my box, there's my lid, and I'm going to pop it on upside down, and then this tab here is going to stick to the side of this box here. There we go. So then when you unroll it, they should all make a nice little steps. There we go. You can push that back and just give that a nice push down to make sure it's all glued together. Okay, so we've got our last piece here. Now we need this little section here so we can glue it onto the top of our box here, so it can come together like so, and then we can make our 2 holes and thread our ribbon through for the top. So our extra piece is this piece here to bring it together, to hold it together. So I'm going to pop some glue on one side, and then with my boxes close together in a square, I'm going to stick it on the top, just like that together, and then that will sit on top of that 1-inch section of the box as well, and then you'll see that they will sit together and it holds your little box roll together. There we go. So now when you open it out, you'll have 2 edges, 2 tabs, and then our 4 boxes that open up on the inside. Okay, now to decorate the boxes inside, I have got 18 pieces of designer series paper. These pieces of paper are from the stack in the autumn winter catalogue. It is the season designer series paper, and I've chosen this one with the little holly leaves. So now what we want to do is go ahead and stick on all our long strips to decorate our boxes. So again, I'm going to fast forward through me doing this. Okay, and we're going to stick our last final 2 pieces on our tabs that are going to be showing on the outside only. Okay, now the measurements for these pieces of designer series paper are 1 7/8, no, they are 7/8 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. So just slightly smaller than all of our panels. So you'll now see that I've got all of those covered. I've left the 2 on the inside plain because you won't see those, but that is what it will look like once you've got all your pieces of paper on. Now you can choose to use patterned card. That would cut down on the time it takes, but I think it looks really nice with the designer series paper on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this to dry a bit before I punch my holes in the top for our ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side. And so for the outer box, I have got a piece of card which I said was 9 1/8 of an inch by 6 1/8 of an inch, and as I said, I've just gone round and I have scored it at 2 inches on all 4 sides. Okay, so I popped it into my scoreboard, scored it 2, turned it, 2, turned, 2, turned, and 2 on the last side. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to make 4 cuts on either side, or sorry, on each section, just to put our box together. So I'm going to hold it with the long side here, and I've just cut up to that first score line here on that score line, and I'm going to do the same on this side here, and I'm going to turn it round and we're going to do the same on this side. So just along our score line to our first score line. There we go. So we have got 4 tabs cut, and then I'm just going to take a little notch out of each of these as well, just to help it fold together nice and neatly. Now, when I was filming this tutorial, for some reason my phone decided to cut out, and it didn't include the last bit of the tutorial, and I didn't know, and I carried on merrily away making the rest of the project. So this is where we got up to before my phone cut out. So I'm just going to show you how to basically stick this together, and I'll give you the measurements for the designer series paper, and then I'll show you the finished one in just a moment. So that's what you'll end up with after you've cut out your notches and done your trimming. So with the outside facing up, we're going to put some glue on these 4 tabs. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then to build it together, I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm just going to bring these sides in, and they're going to sit just like that, and we're going to glue them into place, hopefully nice and straight. Now, in the original tutorial that decided to cut off, I had already put on my designer series paper onto the sides. Obviously I wanted to get this put together as fast as I could, so I'm not going to put in designer series paper on this one here. I'm going to bring in the one that I'd done already. Okay, but the measurements for this, you're going to need 4 pieces, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you're going to need 2 pieces that are 4 7/8 of an inch across by 1 7/8 of an inch. So you need 2 long pieces for either side, and then the 2 ends, you'll want 2 squares that are 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So if I grab the one that I've done, you'll see that I've already put the designer series paper on here, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to show the beautiful decorations that I've done on the front as well, which all cut out of the video, but I will walk you and talk you through what I've done. So I've used the Poinsettia Petals stamp set for our Merry Christmas, and also this little stamped sprig image here is this one here, which I've stamped in shaded spruce, and then I've filled in the berries in real red. There is a coordinating die set that goes with this stamp set as well, which is the Poinsettia Flowers, and that's called Poinsettia Dies. Really simple. So you get your little sprigs in there and your flower petals, etc, etc in there. So what I did was I cut out 2 of the smallest ones in real red, and then 1 of the medium ones in shaded spruce, and I've used that behind as the leaves for my little flower. So I've layered 2 of the smallest ones together, and then I've used one of the center dies as well. and that's in shaded spruce and crushed curry, just to get the yellow showing through there. And then I also die cut the little sprig here, which is in the die set, in real red. For the Merry Christmas here, I have stamped that in real red on some Whisper White, and I've layered that with some shaded spruce, and I've used the new Banners Picker Punch, which is in the mini catalogue as well. So that is that, and I've just used this side. So what you do is you have your little strips going from 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch to up to 1 inch, and then you slide them in, punch, and you get your perfect ends every time. I will put the measurements for my piece of Whisper White and shaded spruce onto my blog, with all the other measurements for everything else as well. Now, in the previous video I said we hadn't got as far as putting in the holes for our ribbon, so all I did for this is I flattened our little top tab down, and then I just grabbed my ruler, and then about roughly halfway across, halfway this way up, I made a measurement. I made a little mark at 1.5 inches and 3.5 inches, and then I used my little handheld punch just to punch 2 circles, or 2 holes should I say, and then I threaded through some of this real red sheer ribbon, and that's also a new ribbon that's in the mini catalogue as well. So then you'll see that that all sits together in there, and that's our box done.